after 5, roughly.
Gotcha.
Okay, I get in the goddamn truck. I get in there. I go down that way, going to work the way I always went.
Yep.
Tried to call on the phone a couple times, got her voicemail.
This is 67-year-old James Prokopovitz, a farmer from Pittsfield, Wisconsin. What police don't know yet is that he is showing them the exact location where his wife, Victoria, was last seen alive before she disappeared for good.
In the house was the last time you physically saw her. Right here in the kitchen when I walked into the bedroom. And that was at 8:39. About 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Her family wasn't entirely shocked. Victoria had struggled with her mental health for years and had attempted suicide more than once. But without a body, detectives spent the better part of a decade trying to find out what really happened to the 63-year-old mother of 3.
Do you think she killed herself?
I don't know. I hope to God not.
I know we all hope that, but thinking back now,
It's possible.
What they would uncover was a meticulously planned murder and a secret affair that had been hiding in plain sight the entire time. But by the end of this investigation, Victoria wouldn't be the only one dead. It's early afternoon on April 25th, 2013 in Pittsfield, Wisconsin, when a concerned husband calls the local police department to report his wife missing. 63-year-old Victoria Prokopovitz had spent the previous day at home with her husband, James, going about her usual routine. She had even made plans with her daughter to meet that weekend and talk about an upcoming job interview. But when James woke up that morning, Victoria was gone. He tells dispatch he wants to help find his wife and asks if an officer can come to the house so he can share everything he knows.
I don't know. I was laying in bed. Had TV on, I was listening to this, watching stuff that I don't remember what I was watching.
Did you come out of the bed then?
No, not at all. Until when I woke up about 3:30.
Well, you said that you were here when you told her that you were going to be going to bed.
I was here when I said I'm going to go to bed. I went to bed.
And then you watched TV.
I watched TV in the bedroom.
And where was she when you were watching TV?
I don't know.
In the house, though.
In the house.
Okay.
She was in the house as far as after 8:30.
To your best recollection, where in the house was the last time you physically saw her?
Right here in the kitchen when I walked into the bedroom.
And that was at 8:39.
About 8:30, 9 o'clock.
And then you watched TV and you stayed up for how long?
I don't know when it was. Maybe a half hour, maybe 45 minutes, maybe 15 minutes.
And your impression was she was in the house?
She was in the house at that time.
Then now let's move to the next morning. Now you're up.
Get up at 3:30. About 3:30, I don't remember, 2:30, 4 to 4.
Yep. And tell me what you do the first thing you do.
I get up, go to the bathroom, take a pee, holler for her, honey. Okay. Thought maybe she was down in the basement. She'd go down in the basement, this woman, Vicki, constantly had to be doing something when she was up. She would either be clean or she was always doing something. She never really sat still. I don't know. And that's the way she always was. Over here.
Go ahead. Do exactly what you did.
Yeah, I walked over here. I said, honey.
Okay.
She didn't answer.
Okay, then go ahead.
Then I went here, went down in the basement.
Go ahead.
Thought she was down here. Turn the light on. Down the steps. Honey! Okay. I walked over here, I think it was. I don't remember. It was here first. Looked. I walked over here, opened this door. It wasn't open. I looked in here. She was here. Okay. Did something. Nothing here.
Okay, then what happened?
Then I went.
But something wasn't right. Victoria hadn't taken her purse or her phone. Even her dentures were still at home. James initially believed she might still be nearby and spent the morning searching around the property. When he still couldn't find her, he expanded his search toward his place of work. But when those efforts led nowhere, his concern for her safety began to grow, and by early afternoon he contacted the police. When officers arrived, James told them that Victoria may have taken her own life. But while that may sound almost dismissive, his fear wasn't unfounded, as Victoria had tried that before.
Do you think she killed herself?
I don't know. I hope to God not.
I know we all hope that, but thinking back now,
It's possible.
is it likely?
I don't know. Things were going good. Like I said, she went through a tough 8-9 months, but things were, we get our little grumpies once in a while, like everybody does, but man.
Did you have any arguments this past
No.
days?
No.
Since the Prokopovitzes lived on a farm surrounded by open fields, search efforts began almost immediately. Deputies, volunteers, and members of the community spread out across the property and nearby areas, hoping Victoria might still be out there, possibly disoriented, or having wandered off, given her history. But despite searching in all possible locations, the initial searches turned up nothing. As days turned into weeks, police and members of the community continued their search for Victoria. Hoardings were put up, flyers were distributed, and search efforts were organized, each attempt driven by the hope that she was still out there and might come forward. But as weeks turned into months with no sign of her, and hope began to fade, the focus of the case started to shift. Leading the investigation, Detective Roman knew that the last confirmed moments of Victoria's disappearance were inside that home. And with no signs of where she had gone, he needed to understand exactly what had happened before she vanished. So, he returned to James, not just to revisit the timeline, but to start filling in the gaps that could explain how Victoria could suddenly disappear without a trace. But as the search stretched on with no answers, the weight of not knowing began to take a visible toll on James. The same man who had once been desperate for help now seemed increasingly frustrated, and officers could see his patience with the investigation beginning to slip.
Sure. So
Because every time you come, you try and ask something, and then you ask the same questions again, and all you're doing is waiting for me to say something a little bit different. Then you say, "Oh, he's lying to us." Now we got him going, and I'm done answering questions. If you want to know something about Vicki, I'll try and help you. And it was on TV. Oh, that she wasn't depressed or anything else. She was seeing a goddamn psychiatrist when this happened. She was on medication when this happened. None of that goes on TV. No. None of that's on there. It's never on there that she attempted suicide a couple times and was bound determined to do herself in. That was never mentioned.
Hey, you don't have to yell.
I don't care. You're trying to put words in my mouth, and it's getting me fed up. You ask me the same questions over and over. Now you come in, you said I told you he died. I don't want to talk to the news. I don't want to talk to anybody anymore. I almost wish I was dead right now. I'm getting so tired of this that I'm 71. I hope the hell I have a goddamn heart attack and die.
You feel like hurting yourself, Jim?
Huh? No, I don't feel like hurting myself. I wish I'd go to bed one night and never wake up. That's what I wish right now. I'm tired of worrying. I wish you guys would find her. Somewhere, somehow, I wish you'd find her.
Yeah, that's what we're
And I
working
wish
on.
you'd find her. It's terrible. I hope she's 1,000 miles away when she turns up. And then there's no way in hell I could be responsible. Because you can go, I don't know how you'll be able to do that for an hour or whatever. You'll be able to tell how many days I was at work all the time. Usually 6 days a week. Sometimes 7.
So if she's located 1,000 miles away, you mean like deceased?
A deceased or alive, I don't care.
And
And if she comes back alive, good.
With few answers from the scene, he decided to speak with those closest to her. Detectives brought in James's stepson, Wesley, asking him to share anything he could about Victoria's life, her marriage to James, and her mental health history, hoping that it might offer some explanation for her sudden disappearance.
Do you remember hearing, like, your mom, you remember them talking about that? Like, that's how they met?
Well, I was pretty young at the time. I was probably only like 6 years old. 5
Sure.
years old. And my mom wouldn't date somebody unless we approved of them.
Okay.
She'd let us meet them before, she'd make a commitment to the person.
Mm-hmm.
And, we took to him, pretty much right away. He was really good with us.
With Jim you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And I'd say within a year or so, they're living together. And he's been part of our family ever since. We're really comfortable with him, and because we grew up with my biological father being a very violent man.
Like physically violent?
Yeah.
Okay.
I came home from preschool one day, gave my mom a kiss and a hug first. He grabbed me by the throat, picked me up, held me against the freezer in the refrigerator, called me a mama's boy, and if I ever did that again, he'd kill me.
Wow.
And at 5 years old, on a visitation, he showed me a bullet from his .44 Magnum with my mom's name engraved on it, and told me she was going to get it, and that was the last time I seen him.
Okay.
I told her I didn't want to see him ever again.
Yeah, right.
And
Wesley shares that after growing up in a difficult and traumatic household, things began to change once his mother married James, especially during the time she fell ill.
he came into the picture probably when I was 6 or 7.
Okay.
And we liked him because he treated us as if we were his kids all along.
Nice. Kind of a nice change after all that
Yeah.
other crap, right?
So I grew up not knowing what a father figure was.
Uh-huh.
To me, I didn't have a dad.
And after Jim would get home, and then what would Jim do to kind of around the house or whatever to take care of your mom? On the times that you were there, what did you see, or what did you guys do to kind of help your mom out in those evenings?
Get her up, change her dressings, and make something to eat, make supper, And for a while, she couldn't eat real solid food, so she, pretty much like Activia, stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
Get her something to eat, get her up moving around a little bit, and then she's probably going to want to lay back down, watch TV together.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing.
Okay.
I mean, I've never seen him even show any sign of getting to that point, nor my mother showing a sign of getting to that point.
But no matter how well Victoria was cared for, Wesley shares that she continued to struggle with her mental health.
And you may have already been asked this, but I'll ask it again anyway, as far as, whether it was, around the time of her disappearance or even historically. Well, let me ask you this. Around the time of her has your mom ever talked about just up and leaving?
Not around the time of her disappearance, but she's often dropped hints that she might be going away.
Yeah, you had said that earlier, and I wanted to follow up with you on that.
And I always ask her, what do you mean? Check yourself in, I'll give you a ride,
Mm-hmm.
So you go, Never mind. Didn't try to get anything out of her after that. It's like,
By this point, nearly a year had passed since Victoria disappeared, with no trace of where she might be or what might have pushed her to step out of her house to finally take the tragic step of ending her life. Search efforts continued, and even with additional resources and public appeals, nothing led to answers. As time went on and the case stretched into its 3rd year, many began to fear the worst. But Detective Roman hadn't stopped. With no clear answers and no sign of Victoria, he returned to the one place where the last known moments of her disappearance could still be accounted for, her home. He once again asked James to retrace his steps, hoping that something, anything, might finally lead them closer to the truth.
Just talk through it. Whatever.
I don't remember. I'll show you the roads I went on.
Perfect.
Pleasantly surprised by the
There, yeah, I'm gonna turn that down a little bit. So we're going westbound on Coonish, okay. Yeah, if you don't remember the order or whatever, at least
I don't remember the order.
At least you remember the roads.
I hope I do.
Yep.
I know I covered every damn road between here and I don't remember if I went this way,
Do your best.
down here.
Okay. So north on Coonish, north.
would have stayed in her clothes that she had on when you last
As
saw her.
far as I know, yes.
So she didn't change into a
That I
nightgown
know,
or
I don't know.
pajamas or
I don't know.
nightshirt
I
or
was in
something?
bed.
All right.
And there was no clothes laying around hers. And I came back this way.
Okay.
Back eastbound on Coonish off of 32.
And then, Jim, you made some reference that, maybe she walked up the road, went to a bar, drove off with a truck driver.
Well, I didn't say she went to a bar and drove off with a truck driver.
Okay,
I did not say that.
okay.
That I know.
All right.
I think I drove in this one.
Okay, go ahead. Do what you remember
Yeah.
best.
But you said you didn't get up. I didn't get up. I drove by here. I didn't go in. Just go by and look through the window, see if anybody was there. Didn't see anybody. There was no cars here, no nothing here.
Gotcha. Okay.
Went around.
There was no cars in the drive.
No cars were at the pumps.
Oh, okay.
But even after retracing the places that James had checked, Detective Roman feels something is still missing. With no clear answers, he asks James to revisit the details of that day. And by now, the strain of the investigation is beginning to show, with James growing increasingly frustrated.
But it was 3.5 years ago, you're asking me where I sat at a goddamn kitchen table? My God, man. And you're asking me what kind of, do you pay attention to what your wife wears every time she gets dressed? If you do, you're a good man, but.
No, the simple answer to that, Jim, is I don't. However,
Yeah, I know you don't. But say, God forbid something would happen to your wife. Would you be able to tell everybody what she had on? Or what she wore? If you guys think I did something, God damn it, arrest me and haul me in. Because I didn't.
I never asked that.
He said I did.
Well, I'm talking.
At that interview. Right to me. I know you did something to that woman.
I'm talking now.
Well, then
That's why he hasn't said a word. He hasn't
Well-
said a word. Because sometimes you get angry like this, I don't feel safe. So I asked him to
I
come.
don't get angry very often, but this is getting to be.
What's ridiculous? I just asked you to
We're
help
trying
me
to help
remember.
you.
I know
Find
you're trying to help
answers.
me remember. But 3.5 years
Then
ago,
just don't. Then tell me you don't remember.
I
That's
don't
it.
remember
Perfect. I'll move on to the next thing.
where I was sitting when we
That's
sat
okay.
down.
But you remember that it was here,
It
not
was
in the
here.
living room.
Yeah.
That's all I need. That's all I need. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, but
Okay, so he said he's almost out of gas.
Yeah.
And then you guys both
I
came
went in the
inside.
house for a minute.
Yep.
I don't remember what I got or what I did. I don't remember.
Okay.
Came back out.
Okay.
It was around 5 o'clock or a little after 5 already.
Okay, so now it's 5 or a little after 5.
After 5, roughly.
Gotcha.
Okay, I get in the goddamn truck. I get in there. I go down that way, going to work the way I always went.
Yep.
Instead of going up to the highway, I took Old Glendale.
Yep.
Glendale down to Double F.
Gotcha.
Got on a Double F on 29, went to Green Bay to go to work. Tried to call her on the phone a couple times, got her voicemail. That's all. I got done work at 1 o'clock.
Gotcha.
I came home, she was gone, I called.
Okay.
They should
You
have got the
called
call.
the police?
Yes.
Okay. So, did you call anyone while you were at work?
No, tried calling here.
You tried calling here.
I tried calling here.
What number did you try to call?
I tried calling her cell phone a couple.
When you were at work.
When I was at work. I didn't want to tell anybody what was going on. I suppose I could have called the girls and everything else. I didn't, because she wasn't basically talking to the girls yet.
How about Wes? Did you try to call him?
No.
To see if she came home or
No,
anything?
I didn't. I didn't remember his cell phone number, and I didn't have it in the phone.
Did Wes help you look for her before or after work at all?
I don't remember if he did it. I think after work he did. I'm not sure. I don't remember, Roman.
Okay. You said you didn't look for her after work. When you came home?
When I came home, she was gone. I called the cops right away.
Gotcha. And so which point did you discover her purse?
It was laying in here on the, it just happened to be sitting there. I don't remember what time
Do you remember?
I think if I found it when the officers came here or when, I don't remember, Roman.
Do you remember? So just like I asked you when we walked around, you would have taken just a little longer because you were going a little
I was
slower?
going slower,
But
it probably, and I might have missed the road out here.
And that's perfectly understandable.
Jesus Christ, you're asking me stuff 3.5 years ago. What roads did I go to? I'm sorry, Roman, I just don't remember.
But it was about this long, just a little longer.
A little longer, maybe, I don't know, hour it took me. I was running around
And
here.
that was actually a pretty good representation of where you went.
Pretty damn good.
Right. And it was you think somewhere earlier you said between 30 to 45. I think maybe 30 to an hour.
About an hour, maybe 45 minutes to an hour. I don't know. I don't remember.
Just one thing that I noticed is that you seem to be upset by our presence. Is it?
No, I'm
that?
not upset. It's just.
Were you nervous about us coming?
No,
today?
I wasn't nervous.
Okay.
I wasn't nervous. I got nothing to hide.
Sure.
Yeah, and can I just speak to that, Jim? You are an excitable guy.
Yes, I can get.
Okay.
It takes a lot to get me going.
Sure.
But once I'm wound up.
Sure, and I get that. So, like when we were in the house, I mean, you're slamming your fist and you're slamming chairs. Not, it's your house. I'm just saying. These are just things I've noticed.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
I'm just saying.
I know what you're leading up to.
I'm just saying, you're an excitable guy.
Do you mind if I interrupt quick?
Go ahead.
What do you think he's leading up to?
I think he's leading up to asking me if I ever got excited and did something to Vicki.
That's not at all.
Okay.
So let me.
I was wrong.
If I may, you are wrong, and I appreciate you saying that, Jim.
All right.
So those are things that obviously we can see, we notice.
But I'll tell you.
And you've confirmed that.
Okay.
Okay. I know this excites you. I know this bothers you. I think that when I hear you, when you tell me what your perception is, it seems as though that I or we have even upset you. Now, hold on. Just hold on, Jim.
Okay.
Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. We are not here, Jim, to upset you,
I know
to
you're not.
demean you, to
I
disrespect you. We're not here to waste your time. Roman and I are just average guys like you.
I understand that.
With
You
a
got
very
job to do.
important duty and obligation.
I understand.
Okay? And when we come here, it's not for any of the reasons that you're saying. We are trying to help bring answers which hopefully will help fill in a lot of things that you are wondering and thinking about yourself.
Yes, I am.
Okay? So, with that said, when you are in your house and you're getting excited and you're slamming your fist and you're slamming chairs and stuff, some of the things that you have perceived, I just want to tell you, Jim, that's not accurate. Okay?
Once the detective manages to get James on their side, he shares that he even tried calling Victoria.
Happened to a lot of people.
I'm sure you have.
And there are a lot of cases, Jim, where those that are nearest and dearest have done terrible
I
things
know.
to their loved ones.
I know.
I'm not saying you did that. Okay?
I appreciate it, Ted.
It's my duty and obligation
know.
to ask you the tough questions.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
What number did you try to call?
I tried calling her cell phone a couple.
When you were at work?
When I was at work. I didn't want to tell anybody what was going on. I suppose I could have called the girls and everything else. I didn't, because she wasn't basically talking to the girls.
How about Wes? Did you try to call him?
No.
To see if she came home or
No,
anything?
I didn't. I didn't remember his cell phone number.
But it is in this detail, after 3 long years of investigation, that Detective Roman gets his first real breakthrough. While retracing that day, James says that he had tried calling Victoria, but her phone records show that she never received any calls from him. For Detective Roman, this is the first clear inconsistency that he can't ignore. It pushes him to take a closer look at James and at the image of a caring husband and father that he had presented from the very beginning. But there is another very unusual twist in store for the detective. James has found new love.
That's where you ended up.
That's where I ended up.
And then just walk me through again the casino part.
Walked into the casino. I was walking around looking for a machine to play, and I thought I recognized her.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked up and I said, "You look familiar." And then at first she didn't recognize me, and then she did. When I
It's been a long time, like 20 years or what?
almost 30 years.
30 years, yeah, of
Yeah.
course. I wouldn't recognize me either.
You know, I mean, she just looked familiar.
Right. Yep.
You know, even if you don't see somebody for 20 years, you think, "Oh God, that guy looks familiar.
Something
that
clicks.
lady looks," you know, just something. That's all I can say.
Yep.
Turned out that she got divorced not long after I quit driving. When I sort of lost contact, didn't talk to him for a long time. And I ended up calling her about 6-7 years after I quit driving, just see how everything was going, how her husband, you know, whatever, if he was still driving. She was divorced. Threw him out. She's living with another guy. And the old guy died. Would have been November of 12. She asked how things were going. I said, "Well, it could be better." She said, "My wife took off." I said, "Can't find her, don't know what happened." She said, I said, "How's things going with you?" Well, she said, "Well, Marv died." I knew about Marv because I called her a couple times after that, just for, they said, "Someday you guys want to meet, we'll have coffee, I'll meet you halfway." She said, "Well, Marv is pretty sick and what have you. We don't travel a whole lot. Go to the casino once in a while, but don't travel." This was, you know, right before when he really.
Mm-hmm.
And I maybe called her in 30 years, I'd maybe called her 4 or 5 times.
Mm.
The woman James now claims to be in love with is 60-year-old Kathryn Friday, someone that he has known for years. And for Detective Roman, this raises new questions. The same man who once called in desperation, asking for help to find his missing wife, now appears to have moved on. But it's not just the relationship itself that stands out. It's the timeline. James says that he ran into Kathy at a casino a month after Victoria disappeared. But the timing raises questions. So with this new detail, Detective Roman moves quickly to speak with her, hoping to better understand how and when this relationship truly began.
You said that this time when you started talking to him, she was already missing?
Yeah.
That was, she went missing in late April?
Right.
And you heard from him the first time when?
In May. Sometime in May, because whenever he called, it'd usually be in May because he remembered my birthday was in May. He could never remember what day. And he'd always say, "I remember your birthday's in May, happy birthday." And he called me again, it was in May. And I remember it was after my birthday. As for when, I don't know.
And that was the first time you talked to him in 2013. Would that be accurate to say?
Yes.
And that,
Right there, yep.
so, it wasn't that you met somewhere by chance or anything like that. It was a telephone call.
Right.
Okay. And he wouldn't have called you earlier that year. Or you didn't call him. He didn't stop by, vice versa, or anything like that. We had conversations with obviously numerous folks, including a lot of your family members and things like that. They're indicating, a lot of your family members are indicating that you told them that the way you came across and met him after his wife went missing was a little different. Do you remember what you told your family?
Well, the first correspondence that we had was he called me in May. And then it was probably sometime in June, I think it was, is that I had gone over to the Hotel Chunk Casino over in Wittenberg a couple times with the girlfriends. And I just happened to be playing a machine. And, you know, sometimes people sit down and strike up a conversation. And this person come and sat down. And I just kept on playing and said hi. And I said hi. And that was it. And he kept on, you know, kind of, I could see out of the corner of my eye, he kept on looking at me. And it kind of creeped me out a little bit, you know. Sure. So I got up and I moved. You know, I went to a different machine. And I sat down, and it wasn't very long. Here, he comes and sat down again. And he said to me, he says, "Is your name Kathy?" And I said, "Yeah." And that's when, and I told him that day.
Who was it?
It was Jim.
You didn't recognize him?
No.
Has he changed that much?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
And
I did not. I told him, I said,
But when Kathy confirms the same timeline, Detective Roman has no immediate way to verify it. With both accounts aligning, the relationship remains just another detail in a case with no clear direction. But what he doesn't know is that someone else has been watching this relationship unfold. And in an unexpected twist, nearly a year later, Kathy's son, Jason, reaches out to Detective Roman with concerns of his own.
Beginning of June, and she's going, "Oh yeah, I was over at the casino, and this guy sat down next to me," and I'm like, "Okay." And she goes, "Kind of weirded me out." So she got up and walked to a different, you know, location for the slot machines. And I said, "Okay." And she goes, "So the next thing you know, he was sitting right down next to her again." And he goes, "Are you Kathy?" And she looked at him and said, "Yeah," and then introduced himself.
Before she met him?
I know of this. This is what I find kind of fishy. Is that, okay, I know the 2 weeks before that, her girlfriends went there twice. Her and her girlfriend. And the first time she came home like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning and stuff, nothing was said. And then the second time is when she told me about this guy and stuff. And that's when, and then there was the weekend right after that, she went over and met this guy. That's why I kind of found out, because
this was in May?
What's that is, she told me, and I know because I'm thinking 6 months. She told me about this guy in June. Mm-hmm. She told me that and she goes, "The only bad thing about this guy," she was like, "Well, his wife has been missing for 6 months." I mean, what do you mean in 6 months? You know, been missing. She told me. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm like, why am I thinking January then?
Right.
Because that's what was stuck in my mind, you know, and I know that because I was thinking 6 months, because I mean, it makes sense because she told me at the beginning of June. If I think back 6 months, it's January.
So this time she met him in the casino, she told you that was in May? She told you this in June?
It was right at the end of, it was either right, you know, the last weekend in May or the very first weekend in June.
Okay. So,
and then,
but the wife, he said, was missing for about 6 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well then,
Detective Roman now knows that his suspicions were right all along, and that something is off about the timeline when James and Kathy started their relationship. But despite his strong suspicions, Kathy does not deter from her statement.
So what I was saying is some of the behavior, and I kind of alluded to that, you know, When she went missing that morning, you know, he didn't call the police, and some people may have this notion that you have to wait a while, but what puzzles me is that you wouldn't even call your daughters. The daughters had to find out from the police later that their mother was missing.
Okay.
You know, but he didn't reach out to them. And then even more puzzling that, you know, he felt worried enough that she was missing, that it was elevated sense of concern. That's what he told us, that, you know, obviously that you wouldn't have went looking for her if he wasn't really concerned. And she had never really been gone longer than 30 minutes, and now she's gone for hours. So he goes looking for her, but despite that level of concern, he doesn't call family, he doesn't call friends, he doesn't call the police, and he just goes to work.
Mm-hmm.
So is that wrong? No, not necessarily. It's just puzzling.
Mm-hmm. We don't know, Jim. You know,
from the investigator standpoint of view, you know, we're talking about this approximately 3 months after the fact, but according to you and according to him, you know, he reached out to you and began to develop this relationship approximately a month after her, not death. Some people grieve quicker than others, but complete and big question mark, complete unknown. And I don't, to me, it seems like he became angry at her before she even went missing.
Okay.
You know, that immediately upon her missing, he was just resigned to the fact that this is what happened. And it just kind of, it bothers the investigator. By no means am I judging your relationship with Jim. You guys are both adults, and what you guys do is your prerogative. Like I said, the context here is Victoria's.
But despite the denials, Detective Roman will eventually uncover the truth about this relationship. What he doesn't know yet is that it will come at a cost, one that will claim another life. As 2 more years pass, Detective Roman refuses to let the case fade. He goes back through years of reports, statements, and evidence, determined to find the truth that has been hiding in plain sight. And the more that he reviews, the more convinced he becomes that something far more serious happened to Victoria. By 2019, 6 years after she disappeared, the case takes a critical turn. The court conducts a series of secret John Doe hearings, calling multiple witnesses to testify under oath. Among them are Victoria's children, Marcia, Wesley, and Stacy, as well as members of Kathy's family. In those proceedings, Stacy and Wesley recall something that stands out: how their father had reacted in the days after Victoria vanished.
Sometimes he'll step outside and see what's going on. Other times he'll be in the house. He was watching the NASCAR race.
Was he drinking anything?
He had a beer.
Was it ever brought to your attention that there was really kind of discussed by some of the people that saw this?
Yes.
I remember a confrontation about Jim not wanting to go to the dollar store for, I believe it was a tablecloth.
Let me stop you there. So you're saying a confrontation. Who was that between?
My mom and Jim.
On the day that your mom went missing, was there an item that she left behind that was significant?
Her purse.
This is something that had not fully surfaced in the earlier stages of the investigation. For Detective Roman, it becomes a lead he can't ignore. Determined to follow it through, he begins reaching out to people who were part of the early search efforts. In one of those interviews, he speaks with a friend of Stacy's, who recalls how James' behavior during the searches stood out to those around him, something that had raised quiet concerns among members of the community.
Well, he came to the first search, Jim did, and it was just temporarily. He wasn't there that long. Probably 15, 20 minutes, and he left. I remember the hall was kind of cleared out, and everybody was outside smoking or whatever, so I just followed everybody outside, and Jim was out there smoking, and just said, You guys are wasting your time. She's nowhere around here.
But it is what Victoria's daughter Marcia shares during her interview that finally gives Detective Roman the break that he has been chasing for 6 long years.
It wasn't like he just met her, but that he'd known her for years. And that we would really like her, that she had 2 kids our age, and that had he known that she got divorced, he'd have never married my mom.
But all of the things that he is telling you at this time, they come as a surprise?
Yeah, it felt like a dagger in my heart.
What Marcia reveals directly connects to what Wesley had told detectives years earlier about what had once pushed their mother to the brink.
But I guess she told Stacy that she was attempting suicide. Because I guess my stepdad was cheating at the time.
Oh, okay.
And taken together, it points to something far more disturbing, offering a possible reason why Victoria may have been in the way. But to prove this theory, Detective Roman needs to establish that James and Kathy began their relationship before Victoria disappeared. And as he brings Kathy in for another interrogation, it becomes clear just how difficult that will be.
Have any previous affairs or contacts with Jim during those years?
What do you mean?
Well, during these years when you had your relationships and your husband had his relationships, did you ever have a relationship?
That was way before we knew Jim.
Okay. Jenny must have some feelings, biases, opinions
Of Jim.
Of Jim.
Yep.
What are those?
Because he started talking to me after Vicki disappeared.
And she just disagrees with that, or didn't like that, or
didn't like it.
Got it. All right. Your life. At what point how often, how regularly would you see him, talk to him during those years?
If I was home and on the base when he went through, we'd talk, and I don't know, was it weekly? I don't remember.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So semi.
By now, based on years of witness statements, Detective Roman strongly suspects that James and Kathy are responsible for Victoria's disappearance. But suspicion isn't enough. Without solid evidence directly tying them to it, he knows that the case won't hold up in court. Determined not to let it slip away, he goes back through years of conversations that he's had with James, searching for anything that doesn't add up. And that's when he finds it, a critical detail that was initially overlooked. To verify James's claims, Detective Roman reviews hours of surveillance footage from the gas station. But James never arrives.
The concern was that he wasn't being truthful about that account.
I had collected surveillance video from that particular gas station as part of this investigation. Mr. Prokopovitz's vehicle was not at that gas station.
In that moment, Detective Roman knows that the man that he has been speaking to all this time was not who he claimed to be. Now he is finally seeing a different side of James, and everything depends on what happens next. As he brings James in for questioning, Detective Roman is convinced that Victoria is not coming back, but he still needs answers. Where she is, and whether what happened was planned or something else entirely. Without a clear motive or Victoria's body, even this evidence may not be enough to secure a conviction. And Detective Roman knows what he's up against. Over the years, he has seen how quickly James can shut down. One wrong move in this room could cost him everything, leaving Victoria's fate unanswered.
Do that now.
what you asked me, I'll try.
It's not about what I'm gonna ask you, Jim. It's about what the truth is. And everything that was testified today was not the truth.
No, not everything.
And that's gonna get you jammed up on the small end. And the small stuff leads to something really, really big. Vicki's dead. Vicki's dead.
Okay, if you say she's dead, she's dead. I don't know.
Vicki's dead.
I don't know. I don't know. That is the truth. I do not know.
This whole case has a lot of ripples. And you can see that.
Yes.
It doesn't feel good to be proved wrong when you're in your seat with what everything is going on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
That didn't happen, Jim. You know what I'm saying?
What didn't happen?
You weren't at that station.
I swear I went by the station and didn't see anybody or anything.
Well, you can see a certain amount of road with the cameras though.
You swear to God I was by there. By that station.
It didn't happen, Joe. That didn't happen. Because video doesn't lie, Jim. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. I swear to God I was down that road. I swear to God I was. And I was by the casino.
You weren't in front of that station.
I probably
when you drove in.
I know.
When you drove in and you said you were right there, I stopped and I looked in.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
You weren't there.
Okay, I wasn't there, but I was around there that night day. I was running like a chicken with its head chopped off, looking.
Why in the world would you drive? You were driving. You were behind the wheel. Why would you drive yourself into that station? Why would you drive around the pump? Why would you drive by the front of the gas station? Why would you tell us that you looked in that window when
I thought that's what I did. I thought that's what I did. In my mind, I did that.
But
that's for detail.
That's what I'm talking about. Is bear with me, Jim. Okay, I know, but
throughout the interrogation, James shows no remorse or guilt over what happened to Victoria, focusing instead on protecting Kathy and trying to absolve her of any involvement.
I didn't do anything to Vicki.
What are you thinking about this? I don't care about her. We're done with her. Okay? We're done with her. She's taken her responsibility and we'll go on from there. Hold on here. She made some choices.
I know she did, but I'm still not going to be a very happy camper.
This is because, before this interrogation, both James and Kathy had already admitted to lying about a crucial detail, one that could put them both behind bars for a long time. And it explains why James has suddenly become so aggressively protective of Kathy.
For a long time. Today he lied on the stand to the judge, the court. Okay?
Is that accurate, Jim?
Yeah. Well, I lied about how we met and...
Did you know that lying to us was wrong and illegal?
Yeah, in a way. I mean,
didn't feel good.
No, but...
Your conscience told you it was wrong, right?
Yeah.
What do you teach the kids?
Yeah. Tell them the truth. Tell them the truth. Tell them the truth.
First day of kindergarten.
And I know. The lie is worse than the cover-up is always worse than the lie.
Did you know that lying in court
I don't.
day after?
I probably end up in jail for that.
Okay, did you know that that was wrong?
Yes, I did.
And did you know that it was illegal to lie to the court after being put under oath?
Yes, I did. I answered them questions.
Yeah. Why did you do it?
I don't know. Just to try and keep our story straight.
Once you go down that, you chose that path, and there was kind of a point of no return.
I know.
And you just felt like you had to keep going with it.
I know.
All right.
In a shocking twist, both James and Kathy had admitted that they had, in fact, started dating before Victoria went missing, but chose to hide it to avoid raising suspicion that could implicate them.
No, it did not.
Okay.
It was at the truck stop.
So tell me about that.
It was at the truck stop.
So Vicki goes missing.
Yep.
How long after Vicki goes missing does it take you to reach out to make contact?
I don't know.
With Kathy?
6 weeks, 5 weeks. I don't.
I am pleading with you. This has all been dragged out because of certain actions by you, by Kathy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? It doesn't have to be that way. Let's get this done in one package. Because every time we prove something else that's different, to the best of your recollection, truthfully, how long does it take you to reach out to your friend Kathy?
5, 6 weeks. I don't remember.
All right, 5, 6 weeks.
Somewhere in there.
I'm going to write it down. So 5, 6 weeks.
Maybe longer. But somewhere in
5, 6 weeks, plus or minus.
Yeah.
Okay. If that's the truth, I'm with you. Okay. You call her up. How does that work?
I called her up.
Do you have the phone number?
Yeah.
So you know how to get in touch with her?
Yeah, I know how to get in touch with her.
Go ahead.
And I said, hi, how you doing? She said, I know it's your birthday this month, or what was your birthday in May? They said, happy birthday, how's everything going? Well, not good.
Okay.
That's what she told me about Marv dying, passing away. That guy who was living with her for 30 years. Then that he had heart surgery or whatever. She asked me how things were going. I said, not good. Vicki disappeared. And she felt, here I'm telling him about Marv and his wife took off on him.
So she felt crappy about that.
She felt crappy about it.
Okay.
So I don't remember if it was that phone call. It may have been. I said, how about we meet in Wittenberg or something, halfway, have coffee and just talk about it.
Sure.
She pulled in. I recognized her when she pulled in.
Did you know what her vehicle was?
No, I didn't know what it was, but she pulled up right alongside of me, looked at me and smiled. And I knew it. I knew her smile. I knew it was her.
Yeah.
And we got out, gave her a hug, and we talked and talked.
How long?
Oh, for a while. I said, we just figured it'd be better than saying we met and shacked up right away the first night.
And who thought of that?
I don't remember if I came up with it or Kathy came up with it.
And just tell me, that sounded better to you guys because why?
I don't know.
I mean, if you got two consenting adults, you go to the motel, why do you have to have a story?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know why.
And you don't remember whose story that
was? No,
was?
I don't. If I mentioned something that way or she mentioned something that way.
But there was an agreement between you two.
Yes. That would be the story.
This is the story.
If they, whatever. That was the agreement between us.
Okay. This has got ripples.
Yeah.
That one little story.
I know.
Really wrapped her up.
But because both had lied under oath, they were charged with perjury and placed under arrest.
Okay. Now, when she took the stand, she got the same admonishment that you did. Roman and I just we just got done with her, and we talked to her for a long time. She said a lot of stuff on the stand, okay? We know that there are some things that weren't true. We know that, okay? She has set the record straight on some stuff. This is no bullshit.
All right.
Okay? She's sorry. She's regretful. She's crying. She's taking some responsibility. And all I can tell you, Jim, is I don't know. I gotta stop the nonsense. I think a big burden has been lifted from her, and I think she's explained some things, and we have some understanding of some things.
By her own admission, and supported by statements from her son, Jason, Kathy Friday knew that she could face up to 12 years in prison. And while she was granted bail before her sentencing, she knew that she had lied to protect James from suspicion, perhaps believing he had not harmed Victoria. But now, with a lengthy sentence closing in and the truth catching up to her, the weight of those decisions became impossible to ignore. What drove her in that moment, guilt, fear, or both, may never be fully known. But in a shocking turn, on the morning of November 2nd, 2020, the day of her sentencing, Kathy Friday took her own life.
I had implored her to be truthful with me. I had indicated to her the seriousness of this investigation, that it was a death investigation, and that I believe that she may be a motive for Mr. Prokopovitz having killed his wife, and I needed her to be truthful with me. But it turns out that she continued to be dishonest with law enforcement.
Following her death, the charges against Kathy were dismissed, and Detective Roman found no evidence linking her to Victoria's disappearance. This meant that James was solely responsible for whatever had happened to Victoria. But the biggest challenge still remained for prosecutors. James refused to confirm to Detective Roman if he had killed Victoria or where her body was hidden.
He did something to her. Well, I'm sorry, that's the feeling I got. I'm honest with you.
Sure.
Just the way...
I'm honest with you, I want you to be honest with me.
Just sort of the way it was going. I had that. They think I did something to her. And I don't care. They charge me whatever they want, but I did not do anything to her.
From today, on the stand, you've been lying.
Give us a story. You can give us a story, but this is your fucking chance because she's gonna take a full ride. You hold the key.
I know I hold the key, and I'm telling you, Roman, I don't know where she is.
Then guess what?
I don't know.
If you don't jump in the car with us and show us, I have nothing to give to the prosecutor.
I can't get in the car and point someplace and say she's there. I can't do it. I don't know where she is.
I'll have to tell Kathy.
Then you'll have to tell her, because I don't know where she is, Roman. As much as I want to help her, I cannot go and point a place and say there she is. I don't know.
Let me ask this. Don't get mad at me. I have to ask tough questions, right?
Yes.
Is Vicki?
We're gonna talk about fucking men now, right?
All right.
Here's what we're gonna do, Jim. It's just these four walls and these three fucking men, right? Right? And there are 1,000 different ways how this could have played out, but it fucking played out. Your hands put Vicki's body, put her lifeless body
in a
place.
No, you can stay right here.
Okay.
In a place. Listen, I'm not mad at you. It's okay. It's been fucking 6 years.
I don't care if you'd be mad at me.
I never met her. I don't know.
I know you
Bring
never
some
met her.
peace. Bring some peace.
If I could bring peace to the family, I would.
I don't think
And
that's
bring
true.
peace to me, I would.
I don't think that's true, Jim.
Well,
But you can't bring peace when you're lying.
I'm not lying about where she is.
But you know what I mean?
know. God,
You lied to the
Roman,
investigation.
I don't know where she is.
You lied on the stand today.
I did that. I'll admit that. But I do not know where she is. So help me God.
She doesn't go poof.
I know
You were the last one to see her. You were the last one with her. You were the last one to hear her.
I don't know. If I knew, I'd tell you right now.
Oh shit.
I'd tell you right now because I don't want Kathy in trouble.
You don't want to be caught. You didn't want to be caught today on the stand.
And you lied.
All right.
You don't want to be caught now.
Okay, I'll admit, I killed her. There, I killed her. Kathy had nothing to do with it.
Tell me what you did there.
I don't know. I don't know where she is.
Tell me how you killed her. No,
I don't know how I killed her.
Tell me how you.
I didn't. So I can't tell you.
Did you?
I can't tell you. I don't know.
Well, did you choke her?
Then. No, I didn't choke her. I don't know where she is.
Was she alive when she got into your truck?
She never got in the truck with me.
Did you assist her with something?
No, I didn't assist her with anything.
Did she ask you to do something?
No, she didn't ask me to do anything to her or for her. I don't know where she is.
Was it an accident?
No, honest to God, I did not.
Detective Roman and his team develop a working theory that James may have disposed of Victoria's body in one of the nearby sludge ponds, where his company routinely dumped toxic material.
Jay, I don't, if I say she's dead, then they're going to say, well, he did it. He knows she's dead.
I do this for a living. There are other statements that you have made to other people where they say, he told us she's dead just by the it's family members, it's searchers, it's all sorts of other people that have taken your words and they're like, that's not good.
So I very well, because of the suicide attempt, I know you're going to say you're going over the same thing. Because of the suicide attempts and everything else and what she said that day, I know it was years ago, and then she seemed to be in a very good mood that day.
Yeah.
But before that, for a while, she was so far down in the goddamn dumps you couldn't even see.
She was telling the doctor all about it, and she was dragging you through the mud in those medical records because that's the way she felt. But that's what she perceived.
Oh, but you said you'd never find it.
Yeah.
You probably would. I don't know.
Well, you said you wouldn't find it. Why did you say that?
Because I've seen what happened to deer when they run in there
What
and
happens
stuff.
to the deer? Tell me what happens.
They a lot of times they sit on top and finally die on top,
Right.
and then they'll stay there. They won't.
Right.
You'll see them,
Yep.
and as you push more sludge, they'll float away or go somewhere. It's not liquid like people think. It's
Right.
solid.
Right. We walked on it.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's solid.
Mm-hmm. So what you said, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that you didn't work there, but you had access to it. And that if a body was to go in there, you'd never find it because you've seen what happens to the deer when they run.
Yeah.
That's what you said, right?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay.
You don't have to be a brain surgeon
And
to figure that out.
I'm not one of them.
You don't have to be a brain surgeon to figure that out, Roman.
No, I'm just a cop, my friend. I'm just a cop.
No.
Right.
You don't even have to be a cop to figure that out.
No.
The average lay person could walk out
You
there.
got access to a truck. You got access to heavy equipment. You and Wally are close. I mean, there are, you know what I mean?
Quarries up and down the highway. Sludge ponds.
I mean, from let's say Wes left at 8 o'clock p.m., right?
I don't know what time he left.
8 to 4.
I don't know what time he left.
Let's just say 8 to 4.
I love that woman, man. I took care of her and I loved her. I would never hurt her.
You would concede though, even though you said money wasn't an issue, there were medical bills.
Yeah, they were medical, but I wasn't worried about them. I had money in my 401k I could have jerked out to pay them if I had.
But despite extensive searches in quarries and nearby areas, investigators are never able to locate Victoria's body, leading them to believe that it may have disintegrated due to the toxic and hazardous waste in the pond. In one of the rarest of circumstances, the trial moves forward without a body, built entirely on circumstantial evidence and what Detective Roman has spent years piecing together as intent and motive. For Detective Roman, this is the moment that everything has led to. Years of investigation, dead ends, and unanswered questions now come down to what he can prove in court. Because if there is any chance of justice for Victoria and any hope of closure for her children, it all hinges on this.
Or, if you guys think I did something, arrest me and haul me in, because I didn't.
I note that he reacts with outbursts and denials that are angry quite often.
The issue surrounding the gas station becomes the most concrete and significant proof of James's deception, evidence that could ultimately turn the tide of the case.
Just go by and look through the window, see if anybody was there. We didn't see anybody. There's no cars here, no nothing.
The concern was that he wasn't being truthful about that account. I had collected surveillance video from that particular gas station as part of this investigation. Mr. Prokopovitz's vehicle was not at that gas station on the morning of April 26, 2013, as he had indicated here.
And then there was his complete lack of interest in the investigation, a stark contrast to the attention and energy he seemed to invest in his relationship with Kathy.
Having killed his wife, and I needed her to be truthful with me. But it turns out that she continued to be dishonest with law enforcement.
Other than when you have contacted Mr. Prokopovitz, has Jim Prokopovitz come forward to law enforcement at any time to offer assistance with respect to his wife Victoria and her disappearance?
Never.
I have nothing further.
But even as the trial neared its end, one question continued to haunt everyone in the courtroom. Where was Victoria's body? Just before James's sentencing hearing, Victoria's two daughters begged their stepfather to reveal the truth.
She doesn't deserve what happened to her. Will we ever know? I'm asking for the truth. I'm asking for justice for my mom, Vicki. She didn't deserve to have this kind of ending. I want to give her peace.
It's hard for my heart to accept that Jim has withheld that information from us. We deserve the truth, and it's time for Jim to tell us the truth.
But James remained silent. On May 26, 2021, James Prokopovitz was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. While Victoria's body was never found, authorities believe that he disposed of her remains in a sludge pond filled with hazardous waste, making recovery nearly impossible. If you think this case was interesting, you need to check out my video on the senator that had no idea her friend is plotting her murder.